Hi guys! Firstly, thank you for being here. Thank you for being my Patreons. I'm currently in my work car park. I'm about to leave for a little adventure, a solo mish, as some would say. I'm gonna go see the house that Jack built. If you were here, there would be an applause or some reaction, but since it's just me in the car, it's a little bit awkward. But I am so excited because I just know it's gonna be something special. But it might be something I hate. Like, it really could go either way at this point. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of Antichrist, but I'm a huge fan of Dancer in the Dark. And with his work, with Lars, with little Lars, we can go either way. Obviously, this is the film that I think it was 100 people walked out of at the film festival. I don't know if this was because of the storyline of the film, or that it was just too brutal for people to handle, or if it's something really truly offensive. So we're gonna get to the bottom of this. I'm super excited though, but I did hear that the movie goes for 2.5 hours. This is a 6:30 session and I was hoping to get a good night's sleep, but it looks like I won't get home till like 9:30. Very interesting. Very strange. I'd like to get in bed by 8 o'clock. Did you not know that on a Friday night? That's me. Again, I'm very excited to see what this film has to bring. I did not realize, and I've just sent this to the Patreon chat if you're on there, we were talking about there is a rhyme that is called The House That Jack Built. And if I read a little bit to you, you'll probably know the rhyme. This is the house that Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. Goes on. I know it's a song, Vanessa said, but I don't know the tune. But it just keeps going on and on and on. And I think that it definitely has something to do with this movie. So it's gonna be like, in my head, it's gonna be like he kills someone, and then it's like an add-on, and then he needs to do something else, and then it just spirals out of control. That's what I'm predicting. I haven't looked up the bio or anything for this film, so it'll be interesting to see if, just from knowing that little rhyme, if I'm accurate or not. But otherwise, I just know it's going to be carnage, and it's one of those films you don't really have to look it up. As long as you see the promotional pictures, which were amazing, you kind of get the vibe. It's kind of like a Who's Watching Oliver type sitch, maybe? We will see. Hopefully better. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling, and we're going to go see the house that Jack built. Let's go.
Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. All that matters is gold. Only shooting stars when the wall.
My name is Emma, and I don't think I've ever been so, like, not excited, but so needed to talk about a film in my life. And I just watched Mandy, like, not too long ago. This film is insane, and not how we thought it was. It's nothing to do with that fucking rhyme at all. It has to have something to do with it. This is definitely a film that is open to your own interpretation, let me tell you. But I want to say what I think it means right now, and it won't spoil anything, I promise, because this is very much, it's not like a surrealist film, but it's very, just has a lot of ideas, and it is put into a storyline that doesn't really matter. So it's all about the ideas in the film. Thank you. It's all about the ideas in the film. It's not about really the storyline. The storyline is just kind of like a string to put it together. I like to think that this film is about Lars, the director himself, kind of owning up to being an egotistical maniac who is a hack job. This is what I want to think it's about. It's totally not about this. And he thinks he can get away with putting out shit, and he's lucky enough to get away with it. And people are too sheepish, which it comes into the storyline, to do anything about it and to speak up, and everyone just thinks because it's disgusting, some of the stuff, you know, like Antichrist and this film itself. It's art, and everyone just yeah, that's what I like. I want to think that the film's about. What the storyline is about. It's about this guy Jack who becomes a serial killer. No spoilers there, but he is very lucky in the sense that he just seems to get away with it all the time. And his ego just goes insane, and he's meant to be this psychopathic type creature. But it's just very vile. And the film, I can totally 100% understand why people walked out. There's cruelty to animals, which is something we're used to in these like brutal movies, but it's done in such a different way. And there's also one scene that it would be that scene, if I had to talk about that scene. I'm not going to say what it is at all, but it's definitely a different type of violence than what we've seen in a lot of movies. This movie is fucking brutal. And the thing about it is, nothing in this film is anything we haven't seen before. Human Centipede is much, like, especially number 2, is much worse than this, but the context in which it's done, the way it's cut together, people were laughing in the cinema because they felt so uncomfortable, and that's what I want to think. I want people to think that people were laughing because they felt so uncomfortable. It was almost comedic, and you didn't know how to feel, and it's just long takes, and it's actually watching someone suffer to death, which is completely different to other movies. It's normally like a quick paced thing, where this, you're watching someone from the start to the end just completely suffer over and over again, and it's hard to watch, but there's a certain scene that just really breaks some of the rules and probably a lot of I guess morals cinema goers have. It's pretty brutal, and then also it does have some context, I don't know, they just bring up the Holocaust, and they talk a lot about Hitler, and they glorify him, and I want to think it's done in a way to seem ironic and stupid and show how sheepish this whole fucking thing is. But it's interesting. Another interesting part is they really give it to the main character. I'm not going to say how, but they do talk about feminism and how he is obviously thinks badly of women, and he gives his thoughts on how women are victims and men are always the one to blame, and why is that the case, as he's hacking someone up. It's quite funny. I like that point because it was very obvious, the irony in the subject. Ooh, why are the men always the bad ones, as he's like cutting a woman apart. That timing, especially with everything going on in America, it was very interesting. Obviously I didn't plan for that, but it's fucking interesting with everything in the news lately. Oh my god, I actually was like laughing so hard. It was just a really strange experience, the whole thing. It's cut into different sections. As I said, it's more about the ideas behind the film than the storyline itself. In saying that, I thought that the first hour and 45 minutes was really gripping, and then the last 45 minutes, hour and 45, is that the math? The last 45 minutes was just shit, like complete shit, like snooze fest, and they definitely take it to another part. Like it just goes and goes and goes, and you could have just really cut it, and I would have given it a higher score, but because of that and some just really awful things in it, I'm gonna have to give it a lower score. I will say I enjoyed this film so much more than Antichrist. I have to say I kind of liked the film, but it's never a film that I'll watch again. It was excruciating at some points, it was interesting in others. I think everyone just wanted to see what he was gonna do, and now I've seen it, I don't care for it anymore. I really wish that it was about how ridiculous and pompous and just pretentious he is as an artist, and it definitely shines through. On that, there is proof in the pudding, I like to think, where if he is not like self-aware of how fucking egotistical like Lars von Trier is, he puts a splice of his own movies into his movie when he talks about art. So a lot of this is overlay as two characters are speaking in the film. I'm really not giving away anything to do with the film. I'm trying to keep the storyline up to you guys. I'm just trying to tell you about the ideas behind it. Because it's definitely one of those films you have to discover by yourself. He has a bit where, I mean, the whole film is talking about art and how art can be dark, and that's beautiful. It's very American Beauty. And he puts his own clips, including Antichrist, into the film. If you fucking splice your own bits into the fucking film, it just shows it just shows. It breaks the fourth wall in a way, and it's pompous as fuck. I think for me, I'm gonna call his best film Dancer in the Dark, and I'm gonna be done with it. Like, it was entertaining. I wanted to see what the hype was about. Now I was pretty disturbed at some points. Seriously. I had these two guys sitting in front of me, and they would, at the start, rah, 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 let's sit somewhere so we can see everyone's reactions, everyone's gonna get spooked, you know? And then I was watching them as a really graphic scene was happening, and they had their hands over the eyes, and I was just like, fuck you guys, like, you cannot handle it either. Everyone talks a big game, but when you're there, you can understand why people walked out. We are not better. You and I hope we know that we're not better than anyone else who goes to see this kind of film. And these people who walked out on this film at the, you know, film festival, these people would have seen horrendous things. They would have seen a whole range of movies, and for them to walk out and to know when to walk out, bravo. Obviously, I didn't want to walk out, but I thought even more so that it was important to watch to the very end, because those people who walked out wouldn't have seen the end and it could have been redeeming, but alas, it was not. 6 out of 10 from me. I know I'm talking a lot of shit on this movie. It just was such a fucking trip, hey? And this is going to be a long video because this is the most I've had to say about a film, and I didn't really even talk about what the storyline is, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because it's not what you think, and it's just about him just going through the motions while having like an inner dialogue. I'll say that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't recommend you guys all seeing this. If it's not something that sounds interesting to you, don't fucking bother. Like, it really, yeah, it's a lot to sit through. 2.5 hours is a fucking epic, you know? But I am going to a 2.5 hour movie tomorrow, which is Suspiria, which this is gonna be real funny, like, up against. I do have my 31 Days of Horror I have to watch tomorrow, but comparing just these two movies at the cinema, it's gonna be fucking a hoot. Suspiria, I know I'm gonna like more than this. Like, okay, I'm gonna go home and like try and sleep, I guess. I hope you guys are all well. Thank you so much for supporting me. I'll try and get this up for you guys ASAP. Wow. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.